First up this evening, Senator Risch, who was briefed by the Trump administration a short time ago on this strike. Senator Risch, good to see you tonight. Thank you very much, Chairman, for being here.
Thank you for having me, Martha.
So do you know anything more about this attack that we mentioned at the very top of the show, which, as I said, the developments and news is just coming in? It looks like there's been yet another attack on vehicles holding some of these Iranian officials.
You know, Martha, I do. I'm really not comfortable until they actually declassify what they're going to declassify to comment on it. The news came was released about 24 minutes ago. The actual attack took place about an hour and 45 minutes ago. But look, the president acted on very specific information that he had that came from the intelligence agencies. That information was rock solid. It's good information. I can't imagine us having this interview if the president had not acted on it, and indeed Soleimani would have been able to complete the attacks that he had in mind and was attempting to pursue, and Americans would have gotten killed, and then the Democrats say, well, the president knew about this and didn't do anything about it. They'd be in it would be stunning. But this president hates doing this sort of thing. He doesn't like doing kinetic attacks, but put in a position that he's been placed in with this, plus with the information that we had, he did what he had to do, and we hope the Iranians will step back, take a breath, and understand that they've been escalating this for a long time.
That's clear. I mean, we pointed that out with just the reminder at the top of the show of the escalating attacks that have happened on oil interests of our allies, and then on an American citizen and on the U.S. Embassy. It makes it pretty hard to understand how you could not have some sort of retaliation. But let me just go back and ask you one more question about these attacks, the additional attacks that we're seeing tonight. Because what we've heard is that there were plans underway to attack U.S. interests, and that's what prompted the hit on Soleimani that killed him last night at the Baghdad airport. So the question was, who replaces him? Are the attacks still going to be carried out or even escalated in response to his death? So the attacks that we just saw about an hour and 40 minutes or so ago, were they aimed at some of these individuals who may have continued to carry out these attacks?
You know, Martha, again, I've been briefed on this, but I don't want to be the one that releases this. I think the question of the declassification of how this came about really should be with the president and with the National Security Council.
Just one last question on it. Do you think that are Americans safer because of this second attack?
I don't think there's any question about that. Look, it doesn't take a lot of imagination when we watch what's unfolded over the last 24 hours to understand how this is how they're going to pursue this to continue to make Americans safer in the job that they have to do overseas. So,
I just want to hit on a little bit of what was in the introduction with regard to the reaction in some media circles to what happened. And I thought it was pretty striking to hear Jonathan Alter say, it was the right move, but the wrong president. What's your reaction to that?
Well, Martha, you operate in the same bubble I do back there. I mean, the hate and the vitriol amongst most of the Democrats, and for that matter, some, not all of the national media, there's no bounds to this. I mean, they are deranged when it comes to the president and can't give him credit for anything. A good example of that's the economy. I mean, we're coming off the best year in 50 years, and you never hear them acknowledge that President Trump has given this to the American people.
But, I know you said back in June that the president considered an attack after the attack on the Saudi oil facilities and that he agonized over that. So the suggestion, I think, here, that it's the right act, wrong president, is that he won't be able to do what's necessary next, or that he doesn't have a strategy for what happens next. So just a quick thought before I let you go on that.
Sure. Look, there is a very, very clear strategy of going forward. This message is a clear message to Iran that this escalation that they're doing, perhaps on the belief that America is weak, perhaps on the belief that this president is weak, simply because he he took what I considered very reasonable forbearance on some of the things that have happened previously. The Iranians have been mistaken. They miscalculated, as they're notorious for doing. And one would hope they'll step back, take a breath, and realize that if they escalate, they're going to be very, very sorry if they do that.
Well, the president and the Secretary of State both said that this was not designed to create war or to escalate war, but to mitigate what's going on between our countries. Thank you very much, Chairman Risch. Very good to have you here tonight.
Thank you, Martha.
Sir.
Thank you for having me.